Imagine stepping into a lavish drawing room, the air thick with whispers and sidelong glances, where a single glance reveals a web of secrets hidden behind smiles of pure innocence. But as Hercule Poirot would say, appearances can be the greatest. Deception of all. Chapter 1. The enigmatic invitation. Picture this. It's a foggy evening in 1930s London, the kind where the street lamps cast long, eerie shadows on the cobblestones. Our beloved detective, Hercule Poirot, with his impeccably waxed mustache and piercing gray eyes, is lounging in his cozy apartment at Whitehaven Mansions. He's just finished a light supper of tisane and biscuits when his faithful companion, Captain Hastings, bursts in, waving a cream-colored envelope like it's a trophy from some grand adventure. "Poirot, old chap," Hastings exclaims, his face flushed with excitement. "You've got to see this. It's an invitation from Lady Evelyn Carmichael herself. She's hosting a weekend gathering at her estate in the countryside. Says it's urgent, something about a family matter that requires your unique expertise." Poirot, ever the picture of calm, sets down his cup and adjusts his patent leather shoes. He opens the envelope with precise fingers, reading the elegant script aloud. "Monsieur Poirot, your reputation as the finest mind in detection precedes. I implore you to join us at Carmichael Manor this Friday. A shadow looms over my household, one that masquerades as innocence but reeks of malice. Discretion is paramount." His little gray cells begin to stir, that familiar tingle of intrigue, sparking in his mind. Why the urgency? What illusion is at play here? Poirot turns to Hastings with a sly smile. "Mon ami, it seems the game is afoot. Pack your bags, we depart at dawn." As they board the train the next morning, chugging through misty fields dotted with sheep, Poirot observes the passing scenery with thoughtful silence. Hastings chatters on about Lady Carmichael's reputation. A widow of immense wealth, known for her charity balls, an impeccable social circle, but rumored to have skeletons in her gilded closets. Her late husband, Sir Reginald, died under mysterious circumstances 2 years prior, officially a heart attack, but whispers suggested poison. Now, with her stepdaughter's upcoming wedding, tensions are high. Poirot nods, filing away each detail. Hastings, remember, innocence is often the perfect cloak for guilt. We must peel back the layers. Upon arrival at Carmichael Manor, a sprawling Tudor estate with ivy-cloaked walls and manicured gardens, they're greeted by the butler, Jenkins, a stoic man with eyes that dart nervously. Lady Evelyn sweeps down the grand staircase, her silk gown rustling like autumn leaves. She's in her 50s, elegant but strained, with faint lines of worry etching her porcelain face. "Sure, Poirot. Thank heavens you've come," she says, clasping his hand. "My guests arrive tomorrow, but already I sense danger. Someone in my inner circle is not what they seem. Letters, anonymous and threatening, hinting at secrets from the past." Poirot's eyes gleam as he surveys the opulent hall, adorned with crystal chandeliers and ancestral portraits. He spots a young woman peeking from the shadows, Miss Amelia, the stepdaughter, with wide, innocent eyes and a timid demeanor. Beside her stands her fiancé, Tarleton Thorpe, a handsome physician with a charming smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. Then there's Uncle Victor, Lady Evelyn's brother, a jovial gambler down on his luck, and the family lawyer, Mr. Silas Grant, whose briefcase bulges with confidential papers. Over tea in the drawing room, Lady Evelyn confides more. The threats began a month ago, scrawled notes warning of the illusion shattering on the wedding day. Poirot probes gently. "Madame, who benefits from discord in your home?" She hesitates, glancing at her guests. Amelia blushes, insisting everyone is family, innocent as lambs. But Poirot notices Thorpe's hand tighten on his cup, Victor's forced laugh, and Grant's evasive gaze. As evening falls, Poirot retires to his room, pondering the puzzle. A scream pierces the night, rushing out. They find Jenkins unconscious in the hall, a note clutched in his hand. The innocent will fall first. Poirot kneels, examining the scene with his magnifying glass. No visible wounds, just a faint scent of chloroform. "Ah, the illusion begins," he murmurs. Hastings shivers. "Who could it be, Poirot?" The detective straightens. Patience, mon ami, the threads are weaving together. This opening act sets the stage for deception, where every smile hides a potential motive. What secrets lurk behind these innocent facades? Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the suspects in the next chapter. Chapter 2. Shadows of Suspects. The morning sun filters through the heavy drapes of Carmichael Manor, casting golden patches on the polished oak floors. Hercule Poirot, ever meticulous, is already up, his cravat perfectly knotted, sipping coffee. In the breakfast room, while observing the household like a hawk, the air hums with tension, the previous night's incident with Jenkins lingering like a storm cloud. The butler, now recovered but shaken, serves toast with trembling hands. Poirot's sharp eyes miss nothing. The way each guest avoids direct glances, the subtle shifts in posture. Someone here is playing a dangerous game, and Poirot intends to uncover the player. He begins by engaging Miss Amelia, the bride-to-be, who sits nibbling a scone, her delicate frame dwarfed by the habacked chair. Mademoiselle, tell me of your wedding plans, Poirot says warmly, hoping to ease her nerves. Amelia's voice is soft, almost childlike, as she describes her dream of a simple ceremony in the manor's rose garden. But her eyes flicker toward Dr. Harlan Thorpe, her fiancé, who's engrossed in a newspaper. Poirot notes the faintest tremor in her hand. Is it love, fear, or something else? He probes gently about the threatening notes, but Amelia insists she knows nothing, her innocence almost too perfect. Everyone here adores me, she says, though her smile wavers. Next, Poirot turns his attention to Dr. Thorpe, who joins them with a practiced charm. The physician speaks confidently about his clinic in London, his devotion to Amelia, and his eagerness to join the Carmichael family. Yet, when Poirot casually mentions Sir Reginald's death, Thorpe's jaw tightens. Tragic, but natural. He says quickly, heart conditions run in families. Poirot's mustache twitches. Too quick, perhaps? Makes a mental note to investigate Thorpe's medical background. Could a doctor wield poison as easily as a stethoscope? Across the room, Uncle Victor, Lady Evelyn's brother, downs a glass of orange juice with a hearty laugh. His boisterous tales of horse races and card games fill the air, but Poirot senses desperation beneath the jollity. Victor's debts are no secret, and a wealthy niece's wedding could be a lifeline or a threat. When Poirot inquires about his recent whereabouts, Victor's laugh falters. Been about, old boy. You know how it is, he says, wiping his brow. Poirot's gray cells hum. A gambler in need might resort to blackmail or worse. Then there's Mr. Silas Grant, family lawyer, who sits quietly, his spectacles glinting as he sifts through papers. Poirot approaches, offering a disarming smile. Monsieur Grant, you hold the family's secrets, non? Grant chuckles nervously, insisting his work is routine, wills, trusts, nothing sinister. But Poirot notices the lawyer's fingers linger. On a locked briefcase? What documents might betray the illusion of innocence? Grant excuses himself abruptly, claiming a phone call, and Poirot marks him as one to watch. As breakfast ends, Poirot takes a stroll through the manor's gardens, Hastings trailing behind, jotting notes. The detective pauses by the rose arbor, where Amelia's wedding will take place. He spots a groundskeeper, a wiry man named Tom, watching from a distance. Tom's eyes are sharp, resentful, and Poirot recalls a servant's gossip. Tom was once close to Sir Reginald, dismissed after his death, for reasons unclear. Could bitterness drive him to sabotage the household? Back inside, Poirot gathers the group in the library, announcing he'll interview each privately. The room grows still, faces tightening. He starts with Jenkins, who reveals a detail. The threatening notes were slipped under doors, typed, not handwritten, suggesting calculation. Poirot's mind races. Typewriters are rare in private homes, but the manor has one in the study. Who has access? As the day unfolds, Poirot's observations deepen. Amelia's innocence feels rehearsed, Thorpe's charm calculated, Victor's joviality strained, Grant's reserve secretive, and Tom's presence ominous. Each is a piece in this puzzle, their motives veiled. The little gray cells are at work, sifting truth from deception. The chapter closes with Poirot standing by the library window, the estate sprawling before him. A second note has appeared, pinned to the study door. Innocence is a lie, and the truth cuts deep. The game escalates, and Poirot's resolve hardens. Among these suspects is weaving the illusion. The trail is warming, leading us to the next layer of secrets. Chapter 3. Whispers from the past. The afternoon light slants through the tall windows of the library at Carmichael Manor, turning the dust motes into tiny dancers in the air. Hercule Poirot paces slowly along the shelves lined with leather-bound volumes, his hands clasped behind his back, the rhythm of his steps matching the ticking of the grandfather clock in the corner. The second threatening note still fresh in everyone's minds. The household is on edge, conversations hushed, and movements cautious. Poirot has decided it's time to dig deeper, to probe the histories that bind these people together, histories that might hold the key to the malice lurking beneath the surface. He knows that illusions are built on forgotten truths, and he's determined to bring them into the light, starting with his private interviews. Poirot summons Miss Amelia to the study first. The room is cozy, with a crackling fire in the grate, and armchairs that swallow her slight figure as she sits down, twisting a handkerchief in her lap. Poirot offers her a gentle smile, pouring her a cup of tea to steady her nerves. "Mademoiselle Amelia, let us speak of your father, Sir Reginald. His passing, it must have been a great sorrow." Amelia's eyes well up, and she nods, her voice barely above a whisper as she recounts the night he died, a family dinner, sudden collapse, the doctor's verdict of heart failure.
Ow.
But Poirot presses on, asking about any unusual visitors or arguments beforehand. She hesitates, admitting there was tensions. Reginald had been arguing with Uncle Victor over money, and Dr. Thorpe, then just a family friend, had been present, administering aid too late. Poirot's eyes narrow slightly. Could grief mask resentment? Amelia insists her stepmother, Lady Evelyn, was devoted, but her words carry a hint of doubt, like a shadow crossing her face. As she leaves, Poirot jots notes: innocence or ingenuity. Next comes Dr. Harlan Thorpe, striding in with the confidence of a man used to authority. He settles into the chair, crossing his legs, his medical bag at his feet like a faithful dog. Poirot wastes no time. "Doctor, your expertise in poisons, surely you've studied them in your training." Thorpe laughs it off, claiming his knowledge is purely academic, focused on cures, not curses. But when Poirot mentions the chloroform scent from Jenkins' attack, Thorpe's composure slips for a fraction of a second. Explains he was in his room reading a journal alone, no alibi to speak of. Poirot shifts topics to his engagement with Emilio, how they met through Sir Reginald's illness, how love blossomed amid tragedy. Thorpe's eyes soften, but Poirot detects calculation in his gaze. "You stand to gain much from this marriage, Non? It's the Carmichael fortune?" Thorpe bristles, defending his affections as genuine, but Poirot files away the defensiveness. As Thorpe exits, Poirot examines the doctor's bag. Discreetly left open or vial of sedative catches his eye, similar to chloroform in effect. Uncle Victor follows, his ruddy cheeks flushed from a pre-interview brandy. He slumps into the seat, mopping his forehead with a silk handkerchief monogrammed with his initials. Poirot inquires about his financial woes, and Victor admits freely. Debts from bad bets, loans from Sir Reginald that went unpaid after his death. "But I'd never harm family," he booms, though his eyes dart to the window, his alibi for the previous night. A late walk in the gardens, smoking a cigar unseen. Poirot probes deeper into old family grudges. Victor's resentment toward Lady Evelyn for inheriting everything, leaving him scraps. Victor laughs it off as sibling rivalry, but Poirot senses bitterness, like sour wine beneath the bluster. He mentions the typewriter in the study. Victor claims he can't type to save his life, but Poirot recalls seeing ink stains on his cuffs earlier. Mr. Silas Grant enters next. His briefcase clutched tightly, spectacles perched on his nose like A bird ready to take flight? The lawyer is precise in his answers, detailing his role in updating the family, while after Sir Reginald's death, Lady Evelyn as primary beneficiary. Amelia next, with a trust fund released upon marriage. Poirot's interest piques. Who else benefits? Grant reveals a small bequest to Jenkins for loyal service, and nothing for Victor or Thorpe. When asked about his whereabouts during the chloroform incident, Grant says he was reviewing documents in his room, alone again. Poirot asks to see the will, but Grant demurs, citing confidentiality. As he leaves, Poirot notices a typed letter peeking from the briefcase. Could it match the notes? Venturing outside, Poirot seeks out Tom, the groundskeeper, in the tool shed, amid rakes and shears that glint menacingly in the dim light. Tom is gruff, his hands calloused from years of labor, his eyes hardened by unspoken grievances. He recounts his dismissal after Sir Reginald's death, though he swears innocence. That lawyer Grant framed me, Tom mutters, to cover his own tracks. His alibi? Tending the greenhouse late into the night? No witnesses? Poirot learns Tom harbors a grudge against the family, especially Thorpe, whom he saw arguing with Sir Reginald days before the death. As Poirot walks back, he spots fresh footprints near the study window matching Tom's boots. Returning indoors, Poirot confers with Hastings in the hallway, the captain's face etched with worry. It's a tangled web, Poirot. Everyone has motive. No one has proof. Poirot nods, his mind worried like a well-oiled machine. He decides to examine the study more closely, the room with the typewriter, dusting for fingerprints with a handkerchief, none. On the keys, wiped clean. But under the desk, a crumpled paper, a draft of a threatening note, incomplete. Whose handwriting? It matches none he's seen yet. As evening approaches, the group gathers for dinner, the atmosphere thick with unspoken accusations. Lady Evelyn tries to keep spirits up, serving roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, but forks clink awkwardly. Poirot observes interactions, Amelia leaning on Thorpe, Victor eyeing the wine decanter longingly, Grant pushing food around his plate. Suddenly, a crash from the kitchen rushing in. They find a window broken, shards glittering on the floor, and another note on the table. The past awakens, and innocence crumbles. Poirot examines the Glasnow forest entry, suggesting an inside job. He questions the cook, who saw a shadow fleeing toward the Gardenstom's domain. The night deepens, and Poirot retires to ponder. Lying in bed, he reviews the day's revelations. Motives rooted in money, love, revenge. Alibis thin as tissue paper. Evidence mounting but elusive. A noise outside his door slipping out, he catches a glimpse of a figure in a dressing gown vanishing around the corner, whose the puzzle pieces shift, forming patterns. This chapter peels back layers of history, revealing cracks in the facades. But the illusion persists, danger closing in. What twist awaits as alliances form and break? The investigation intensifies in the chapter ahead. Chapter 4. Tangled bonds and hidden truths, the morning mist clings to Carmichael Manor like a shroud, wrapping the estate in a ghostly embrace as Hercule Poirot stands at his bedroom window, gazing out at the dew-kissed lawns. The broken kitchen window from the previous night, coupled with the latest threatening notes, has set the household abuzz with unease, like bees disturbed in their hive. Poirot's little gray cells are working overtime, piecing together the fragments of motive and opportunity. He knows that relationships, those intricate threads of loyalty, betrayal, and hidden desires, are the heart of this mystery. Today, he resolves to unravel the bonds between the suspects, to find where trust frays and secrets fester. After a quick breakfast of croissants and coffee, Poirot gathers everyone in the drawing room, his demeanor calm, but his eyes sharp as a blade. He announces a group discussion, ostensibly to ease tensions, but really to observe how they interact under pressure. Lady Evelyn sits ramrod straight, her hands folded tightly, as if holding herself together. Amelia clings to Dr. Thorpe's arm, her eyes darting nervously, while Thorpe offers her reassuring pats, though his gaze flickers to the door. Uncle Victor sprawls in an armchair, nursing a headache and a glass of water, his usual bravado dimmed. Mr. Grant hovers near the fireplace, clutching his briefcase like a shield, and Jenkins, still pale from his ordeal, lingers at the edges, serving tea with mechanical precision. Poirot notes the absence of Tom, the groundskeeper, who's reportedly tending to storm-damaged trees. Convenient excuse, perhaps. Poirot begins with a seemingly innocent question. Madame, mademoiselle, messieurs, tell me of the happiest times at Carmichael Manor. Family memories? They reveal the heart, none. Lady Evelyn speaks first, her voice wistful as she recalls garden parties hosted with Sir Reginald, where Amelia, then a child, would dance barefoot on the lawn. Tone softens when mentioning her late husband, but Poirot catches a glance she throws at Victor, tinged with reproach. Victor jumps in, chuckling about teaching Amelia to play cards, though his story ends abruptly when Amelia blushes and changes the subject. Poirot's mustache twitches, cards, debts, Victor's vice. Could Amelia know something compromising? Thorpe interjects smoothly, describing how he and Amelia bonded over long walks after Sir Reginald's death, but his words feel rehearsed, like lines from a play. Grant remains silent, only nodding when pressed, his reticence louder than words, sensing the group's discomfort. Poirot shifts gears, asking about Sir Reginald's final days. The room grows colder. Amelia's eyes fill with tears and she excuses herself, claiming a headache. Thorpe follows. Protective or controlling, Poirot wonders. Victor admits to a heated row with Sir Reginald over unpaid loans, but insists it was resolved before his death. He was my brother-in-law, for heaven's sake, Victor says, but his voice lacks conviction. Lady Evelyn defends Victor, saying family squabbles were common but harmless. Grant, when prodded, mentions preparing a new will days before Sir Reginald's death, but claims it was routine. Poirot's mind snags on this routine, yet significant enough to warrant secrecy. After the discussion, Poirot takes Hastings for a walk along the manor's gravel paths. The crunch underfoot punctuating their conversation. Mon ami, the ties here are knotted with tension. Amelia's devotion to Thorpe, Victor's reliance on Lady Evelyn, Grant's guarded knowledge. They all hide something. Hastings nods, suggesting they search the study again, where the typewriter sits like a silent conspirator. Inside, Poirot examines the machine closely, finding faint smudges of ink on the ribbon recently used, but by whom? He discovers a locked drawer in the desk, and with a hairpin borrowed from Hastings' pocket, he picks it open with practiced ease. Inside, a bundle of letters, not typed, but handwritten, addressed to Lady Evelyn from Sir Reginald before their marriage. They speak of love, but also of a rival, someone who threatened their union. No name, but the tone suggests jealousy, perhaps unresolved. Could this connect to the present? Returning to the house, Poirot seeks out Jenkins, finding him polishing silver in the pantry. The butler's hands shake slightly, and Poirot adopts a soothing tone. Monsieur Jenkins, you served Sir Reginald loyally. Did he ever speak of enemies? Jenkins hesitates, then admits Sir Reginald confided in him about a falling out with Tom, the groundskeeper, who felt betrayed when dismissed for alleged theft. Jenkins also mentions overhearing Thorpe and Amelia arguing recently about money, not love. Poirot thanks him, noting the butler's loyalty might mask his own secrets. Later, Poirot corners Tom in the greenhouse, surrounded by blooming orchids and the scent of damp earth. Tom is surly, wiping dirt from his hands as he recounts his years of service, only to be cast out after Sir Reginald's death. They blamed me to protect someone else, he growls, eyeing the manor. When Poirot mentions the footprints near the kitchen window, Tom claims he was checking the grounds after the storm, but his story feels thin, his anger palpable. Poirot wonders if revenge drives him, or if he's a pawn in a larger scheme. As dusk settles, Poirot observes a private moment in the library. Amelia and Thorpe in a heated whisper, her voice rising. You promised it would stay buried. Thorpe hushes her, unaware of Poirot's presence behind a bookcase. The detective's heart quickens. What secret must remain buried? He decides to test the waters at dinner, dropping subtle hints about hidden motives. The table grows tense. Victor drinks heavily. Grant adjusts his spectacles repeatedly, and Lady Evelyn's smile is brittle. After dessert, Another incident, a chandelier in the dining room crashes, narrowly missing Amelia. No note this time, but the message is clear. Danger is closing in. Poirot retires to his room, sketching a diagram of relationships. Amelia and Thorpe, bound by love or manipulation. Victor and Lady Evelyn, tied by family and resentment. Grant, the keeper of legal secrets. Tom, the outcast with a grudge. Jenkins, the silent observer. Each bond is a thread in the web, but which is the spiders? A knock at his door reveals Hastings, breathless, holding a typed note found in the hall. The truth is closer than you think. Poirot's eyes gleam. The game is tightening. This chapter weaves deeper into the tangled relationships where love and loyalty mask darker truths. The danger escalates, and Poirot's net is closing. What revelation awaits as he presses further into the heart of the mystery? The trail leads us onward. Chapter 5. The Mask of Motives. The morning at Carmichael Manor dawns crisp and clear, the sun piercing the mist to reveal the estate in sharp detail, as if nature itself is urging Hercule Poirot to see through the fog of deception. The fallen chandelier from the previous night has left the household rattled, servants whispering in corners and guests casting wary glances over their porridge and tea. Poirot, seated at the breakfast table with his notebook discreetly open, observes the subtle tells. Lady Evelyn's forced cheer as she pours cream, Dr. Thorpe's overly attentive fussing over Amelia, and Uncle Victor's bloodshot eyes, betraying a sleepless night. The detective knows that motives, like masks, are worn to conceal truth, and he's determined to unmask them today by pushing the suspects to reveal their hidden desires. Poirot begins his day with a private walk with Lady Evelyn through the manor's rose garden, the air sweet with blooming flowers. He adopts a sympathetic tone, asking about her life since Sir Reginald's death. She speaks of her charity work, her efforts to maintain the family's legacy. But her voice cracks when mentioning Amelia's upcoming wedding. It's what Reginald would have wanted, she says, but Poirot detects a flicker of reluctance. He gently probes about the threatening notes, suggesting they might target the wedding itself. Lady Evelyn pales, admitting she fears for Amelia, but refuses to elaborate, saying only some secrets are best left undisturbed. Poirot notes her protectiveness, maternal or manipulative. As they part, he spots a glint in the flower bed, a small key, half buried. He pockets it, suspecting it unlocks more than a door next. Poirot seeks out Dr. Thorpe in the manor's conservatory, where the physician is examining a potted fern with scientific curiosity. Poirot engages him in talk of his medical practice, steering the conversation to poisons again. A doctor knows how to heal, but also how to harm none, Poirot asks lightly. Thorpe's smile is tight as he dismisses the notion, claiming his work is saving lives. But when Poirot mentions the chandelier's suspicious fall, Thorpe suggests it was old wiring, too quick with an explanation. Poirot shifts to Amelia's trust fund, noting it becomes hers upon marriage. Thorpe's eyes harden briefly before he laughs it off, saying money means little compared to love. Poirot's gray cells buzz. Love or leverage? He notices Thorpe's watch chain, a gold trinket engraved with initials not his own. In the afternoon, Poirot finds Uncle Victor in the billiard room, idly knocking balls across the green felt. The detective joins him, chalking a cue to keep the mood casual. Victor's jovial mask slips as Poirot asks about his debts, now rumored to be in the thousands. Nothing I can't handle, Victor boasts, but his grip on the cue tightens. Poirot mentions the key found in the garden, watching Victor's reaction a flicker of recognition, quickly masked. Victor claims he lost a cufflink there, not a key, but Poirot recalls no such cufflink in his attire. When asked about his late-night walks, Victor grows evasive, muttering about needing air. Poirot senses a man cornered, his motives tied too. Desperation? Mr. Grant is next, found in the study poring over ledgers. Poirot tests the key from the garden. On the locked drawer he found earlier it fits, revealing a hidden compartment with financial records showing payments to an unknown account. Grant, caught off guard, claims their estate expenses, but his stammer betrays him. Poirot presses about the will's details, and Grant admits Sir Reginald considered cutting Victor out entirely before his death, a fact not shared with the family. Could this be motive for foul play? Grant's alibi for the chandelier incident working late in his room lacks witnesses, and Poirot marks his nervous tick of adjusting his spectacles as a tell. Seeking Tom, the groundskeeper, Poirot tracks him to the stables, where he's mucking out stalls with a scowl. Tom's resentment is palpable as he speaks of his loyalty to Sir Reginald, only to be discarded by Lady Evelyn. Poirot asks about the kitchen window and chandelier, hinting at sabotage. Tom snaps that he'd never stoop to such tricks, but his knowledge of the manor's wiring and layout is suspiciously thorough. When Poirot shows him the key, Tom's eyes widen briefly before he claims ignorance. Poirot wonders if Tom's grudge extends beyond resentment to active revenge. As evening approaches, Poirot gathers everyone for tea in the parlor, orchestrating a subtle experiment. He casually mentions a fictional clue, a missing locket from Sir Reginald's study tied to his death. The room tenses. Amelia gasps softly. Thorpe's teacup rattles. Victor coughs into his napkin. Grant freezes. And Jenkins drops a spoon. No locket exists, but their reactions speak volumes. Poirot excuses himself to the library, where he tests the key on a small safe behind a portrait inside. A vial of clear liquid, unlabeled. Poison or medicine. He seals it for later analysis. Dinner is a strained affair, with Amelia excusing herself early, claiming nerves. Poirot notices Thorpe whispering to Grant, their heads bent close, and Victor slipping out to the terrace, followed by Jenkins. As the meal ends, a maid rushes in, pale-faced. A fire has started in the guest wing, smoke billowing from a bedroom. The household scrambles, Poirot directing Hastings to fetch water while he investigates. The fire is small, quickly doused, but a singed note lies among the ashes. The mask falls tonight. No one claims the bedroom as theirs, raising suspicions. Of deliberate arson, Poirot retires to his room, his notebook filling with connections. The key, the vial, the payments, the fire. Motive swirled read. Vengeance, fear of exposure. The household's masks are slipping, but whose face lies beneath? The stakes rise as danger strikes closer. The trail of motives tightens, leading to a confrontation that will shake the manor's foundations. Stay tuned for what's next. Chapter 6. The Dance of Deceptions. The sun hangs low over Carmichael Manor, painting the estate's stone walls in hues of amber and gold. But the warmth does little to dispel the chill of suspicion that has settled over the household. The small fire in the guest wing last night, though quickly extinguished, has left everyone on edge, their nerves frayed like old rope. Hercule Poirot, ever composed, sips his morning tisane in the conservatory, his sharp eyes scanning the faces of the gathered guests as they murmur over coffee and scones. The singed note found in the ashes, the mask falls tonight, echoes in his mind, a promise of revelation or ruin. Poirot knows that deception is a dance, each step calculated, and he's ready to lead. Forcing the culprits to stumble, Poirot begins the day by cornering Captain Hastings in the hallway, his voice low but urgent. Mon ami, we must observe. The rhythm of this household, the glances, the silences, they betray the choreography of lies. Hastings nods, eager to assist, and Poirot assigns him to shadow Dr. Thorpe, whose smooth demeanor hides something jagged. Poirot himself heads to the library, where he examines the vial from the safe, holding it to the light. Its clear liquid could be anything: sedative, poison, or even water, but its presence in a hidden safe screams intent. He decides to confront Lady Evelyn first, suspecting her protective nature conceals more than maternal instinct. Finding her in the morning room, arranging flowers, Poirot adopts a gentle tone. Madame, this vial found in your husband's safe. What can you tell me, lady? Evelyn's hand freezes mid-snip, a rose falling to the table. She claims ignorance, insisting the safe hasn't been opened since Sir Reginald's death, but her eyes betray a flicker of fear. Poirot presses, mentioning the anonymous payments in Grant's records. Her composure cracks. She admits to funding Victor's debts to keep him quiet about a family scandal, but refuses to elaborate. "It's private, Monsieur Poirot. Nothing criminal," she says, her voice tight. Poirot notes her defensiveness, good the scandal tie to the threats. Next, Poirot seeks Amelia in the music room, where she's playing a melancholy tune on the piano. Her fingers falter as he enters, and he sits beside her, offering a fatherly smile. "Mademoiselle, your wedding approaches, yet fear clouds your joy. Trust, Poirot, what troubles you?" Amelia's hands tremble, and she confesses to overhearing Thorpe and Grant discussing an arrangement late at night. She thought it was wedding-related, but now she's unsure, her trust in Thorpe wavering. Poirot probes about her father's death, and Amelia reveals a detail. The night he died, she saw Thorpe leave his study, looking agitated. Her innocence feels genuine, but Poirot wonders if she's an unwitting pawn in a larger scheme. Dr. Thorpe is next, found in the garden shed inspecting tools, claiming an interest in botany. Poirot, with Hastings trailing discreetly, questions him about the vial. Thorpe dismisses it as likely a leftover from Sir Reginald's medications, but his casual tone feels forced. When Poirot mentions Amelia's doubts, Thorpe's charm falters, his hand brushing the engraved watch chain nervously. "She's just nervous about the wedding," he insists, but Poirot senses a lie. Hastings later reports seeing Thorpe slip a small notebook into his pocket after a hushed call in the hall. Could it hold incriminating details? Poirot then tracks down Uncle Victor, sprawled on a lawn chair with a cigar, his eyes red-rimmed. The detective mentions the key found in the garden, watching Victor's cigar pause mid-puff. Victor claims it might belong to the greenhouse, but his story shifts when Poirot reveals it. "Open the safe." "Never seen it," Victor mutters, stubbing out his cigar. Poirot asks about the scandal Lady Evelyn hinted at, and Victor laughs bitterly, saying only, "Old family nonsense. Nothing to do with this." His evasion is a red flag. Poirot suspects Victor's debts make him vulnerable to manipulation or blackmail to Mr. Grant is in the study, typing furiously on the typewriter when Poirot enters. The detective casually mentions the singed notes. Typed font, identical to the others, and Grant's fingers freeze. He claims he uses the typewriter for legal work, but Poirot notices a fresh ink smudge on his cuff. Confronted about the payments, Grant admits they were for discreet matters, but clams up when pressed. Poirot's question about the safe's contents elicits a stammered denial, and Grant hurries out, leaving a page in the typewriter a draft letter, suspiciously vague. Addressed to an unknown recipient, Poirot's investigation takes him to the stables, where Tom the groundskeeper is sharpening a scythe, his movements sharp with suppressed anger. Poirot asks about the fire, noting Tom's expertise with the manor's layout. Tom snaps that he was clearing storm debris all night, but his alibi lacks witnesses. When shown the vial, he scoffs, suggesting it's rat poison from his shed, but his eyes linger on it too long. Poirot recalls Tom's grudge against Thorpe and wonders if he's orchestrating chaos to expose the doctor. At luncheon, Poirot orchestrates another test, casually mentioning a fictional witness to the fire gardener who saw someone fleeing. The table goes silent. Thorpe's fork pauses, Amelia's eyes widen, Victor chokes on his wine. Grant adjusts his spectacles and Jenkins spills a ladle of soup. No gardener exists, but their reactions tighten the web. Later, Poirot inspects the guest wing's charred room, finding a hidden panel in the wall, barely singed. Inside, a photograph of Sir Reginald with a woman not lady, Evelyn lying intimately. A clue to the scandal? As night falls, the household gathers for a tense card game, Poirot watching from the sidelines. Thorpe and Grant exchange glances. Victor bets recklessly, and Amelia excuses herself early. Pale, a sudden power outage plunges the room into darkness, and a scream echoes Amelia, found collapsed in the hall, a typed note beside her. The dance ends soon. No injury, but her fear is real. Poirot examines the note freshly typed, the ink still damp. Retiring to his room, Poirot sketches a timeline, the vial, the payments, the photograph, the notes. Deceptions swirl, each suspect's mask slipping further. The dance is nearing its climax, and Poirot senses the final steps are close. What truth will the next move reveal? The mystery deepens, drawing us to the next act. Chapter 7. Echoes of Betrayal. The dawn at Carmichael Manor breaks with a restless energy, the sky streaked with clouds that mirror the unease within the house. The power outage and Amelia's collapse last night have left the household teetering, on the edge of panic, like a tightrope walker sensing a fraying rope. Hercule Poirot, impeccable as ever in his tailored suit, stands in the dining room, his fingers tracing the rim of a porcelain coffee cup as he watches the guests shuffle in for breakfast. The air is thick with suspicion, each person avoiding, the other's eyes, their movements stiff, as if expecting the next blow. Poirot's little gray cells are humming, piecing together the clues to vial, photograph, the typed notes, the hidden payments. This mystery, a wound from the past festering into present danger. Today he will push deeper, stirring the pot to force the truth to surface. Poirot begins with a bold move, gathering everyone in the grand salon after breakfast. The room, with its velvet drapes and gilded mirrors, feels like a stage for his performance. He holds up the photograph found in the guest wing's hidden panel, its edges slightly charred from the fire. Ms. Amos, this image of Sir Reginald with an unknown woman, does it spark memories? The reaction is immediate. Lady Evelyn's face drains of color, her teacup clattering. Amelia gasps, clutching Thorpe's arm. Victor's laugh is too loud, too quick. Grant's spectacles slip down his nose, and Jenkins, serving biscuits, freezes mid-step. Poirot's eyes dart between them, cataloging each tell. Lady Evelyn recovers first, claiming the woman was a distant cousin long gone, but her voice trembles. Poirot doesn't press yet, letting the tension simmer, knowing fear will loosen tongues. He next seeks out Amelia privately, finding her in the rose garden, her pale hands clutching a shawl against the morning chill. Poirot adopts a fatherly tone, sitting beside her on a wrought-iron bench. "Mademoiselle, this photograph, does it distress you?" Amelia's eyes well up, and she admits she's never seen it. But it stirs a memory. Her father once spoke of a mistake from his youth, a woman he wronged before marrying her mother. She overheard him confiding in Thorpe, who dismissed it as unimportant. Poirot probes about her collapse, and Amelia confesses the note's words. The dance ends soon felt personal, as if someone knew her fears of losing Thorpe to the family's secrets. Her vulnerability is palpable, but Poirot wonders if it's a performance. Her innocence, a shield. Dr. Thorpe is next, intercepted in the library, where he's flipping through a medical journal with feigned nonchalance. Poirot holds up the vial, now safely in a handkerchief, and asks directly, "Is this your work, doctor? A sedative, perhaps, or something more sinister?" Thorpe's jaw tightens, but he maintains his charm, suggesting it's likely a relic from Sir Reginald's treatments, possibly morphine for pain. When Poirot mentions the photograph, Thorpe's eyes flicker to the door, as if expecting an interruption. He claims no knowledge of the woman, but his fingers toyed with that engraved watch chain again. Initials glinting. S.R. Sir Reginald. Poirot presses about his late-night talks with Grant, and Thorpe snaps, "Just wedding plans." His defensiveness is a crack in his polished facade, and Poirot files it away. Uncle Victor, found in the smoking room puffing on a cigar, is less composed when Poirot confronts him about the photograph. His jovial mask slips as he admits Sir Reginald had a brief affair before marrying Lady Evelyn, a scandal hushed up to save the family name. Victor claims he only knows rumors, but his sweaty palms and shifting gaze suggest more. When Poirot mentions the hidden payments, Victor bristles, insisting they were loans from Evelyn, not blackmail. "I'm no extortionist," he growls, but Poirot recalls the ink stains on his cuffs, hinting at typewriter use. Victor's alibi for the power outage drinking alone in his room feels flimsy, especially when Poirot notices a singed cufflink. On the floor, missed by the servants, Mr. Grant, cornered in the study, is visibly rattled when Poirot shows him the photograph. The lawyer adjusts his spectacles repeatedly, claiming the woman was a client of Sir Reginald's, nothing more. But when Poirot mentions the safe's contents and the typed notes, Grant's hands shake, spilling papers from his briefcase. One sheet, quickly snatched back, bears a typed address. Could it link to the mystery woman? Grant's explanation of the payments shifts. Now he claims they were for charity, not Victor's debts, contradicting Lady Evelyn. Poirot's gray cells spark. Grant's secrets are piling up. His role as keeper of the family's legal affairs a perfect cover for manipulation. Poirot ventures to the grounds, finding Tom the groundskeeper repairing a fence near the stables. The man's scowl deepens as Poirot questions him about the photograph. Tom spits, saying Sir Reginald had his flings, but refuses to elaborate, his anger aimed at the entire family. When asked about the power outage, Tom claims he was checking the generator, but his boots, caked with mud from the guest wing, tell a different story. Poirot mentions the vial, and Tom's smirk suggests familiarity, perhaps too much. Could he have planted it to frame someone? Back in the manor, Poirot enlists Hastings to search the guest wing for more clues. They find a hidden compartment in the fireplace, containing a locket with the same woman's initials as the watch chain, E.M., not Lady Evelyn, but perhaps the mystery woman? Hastings, excited, suggests it's a love token, but Poirot cautions it may be a token of betrayal, mon ami. They return to the salon, where Poirot orchestrates another test, casually mentioning the locket as if it's been found by police. Thorpe's hand goes to his watch chain. Victor coughs violently, and Amelia faints again, this time caught by Jenkins, whose eyes dart nervously as evening falls. The household gathers for a strained dinner, the chandelier replaced but casting uneasy shadows. Poirot watches Thorpe whisper to Amelia, Grant avoid Victor's gaze, and Lady Evelyn grip her fork like a weapon. Suddenly, a loud crash from upstairs. Rushing to investigate, they find a shattered mirror in Amelia's room, a typed note pinned to the frame. Betrayal cuts deepest. No one saw anything, but Poirot notices a faint scent of cigar smoke, Victor's brand. He questions Jenkins, who admits to seeing a shadow near Amelia's door. But his loyalty to the family makes him hesitant. Retiring to his room, Poirot sketches a web of betrayals. The affair, the payments, the locket, the notes, each suspect's motives deepen: love, greed, revenge, or shame. The photograph and locket point to a past wrong, but whose hand wields it now? The echoes of betrayal grow louder, leading to a reckoning. The net tightens, and Poirot senses the final unmasking. Is near what twist awaits as the past collides with the present? The mystery races toward its climax. Chapter 8. The web tightens. The morning light at Carmichael Manor feels brittle, like glass ready to shatter under the weight of the secrets it holds. The shattered mirror in Amelia's room, coupled with the latest note, betrayal cuts deepest, has left the household in a state of near paranoia, with every creak of the floorboards drawing nervous glances. Hercule Poirot, his mustache as precise as his thoughts, sits in the library, his notebook open to a page filled with diagrams of connections lines, linking names, motives, and clues like a spider's web. The locket, the photograph, the vial, the typed notes, the hidden payments, all threads, leading to a center he's determined to uncover. Today Poirot will tighten the web, applying pressure to force the truth into the open. Knowing that even the cleverest deceiver will falter under scrutiny, Poirot begins by summoning Jenkins to the library, the butler's face pale and drawn. As he sets down a tray of tea, Poirot's tone is gentle but firm. Monsieur Jenkins, you see all in this house, yet you speak little. What do you know of this locket marked E.M.? Jenkins' hands tremble, spilling a drop of tea, and he admits to recognizing the initials Ellen Marwood, a governess who worked at the manor years ago, before Amelia's mother died. She left abruptly after Sir Reginald's engagement to Lady Evelyn, and Jenkins heard rumors of a romance gone sour. Poirot presses about the cigar smoke near Amelia's room, and Jenkins hesitates, then confesses he saw Victor lurking nearby, but didn't report it, fearing family discord. Poirot's eyes gleam. Jenkins' loyalty is a shield, but for whom? Next. Poirot seeks Lady Evelyn in the drawing room, where she's arranging a guest list for the wedding, her movements mechanical. He shows her the albay, asking directly, Madame, Was Ellen Marwood the woman in the photograph with your husband? Lady Evelyn's pen snaps in her hand, ink staining her fingers. She insists Ellen was just a governess, dismissed for incompetence. But her eyes betray a deeper wound. Poirot mentions the payments in Grant's records, suggesting they might link to Ellen. Lady Evelyn's voice sharpens, claiming they were for charity, but she falters when Poirot describes the locket's initials. I don't know where it came from, she snaps. Poirot senses she's protecting someone or hiding her own guilt. Dr. Thorpe is found in the conservatory, pruning a rose bush with surgical precision. Poirot confronts him with the locket, noting its initials match the watch chain he wears. Thorpe's hand pauses, a thorn pricking his finger, and he claims the chain was a gift from Sir Reginald, nothing more. When Poirot mentions Ellen Marwood, Thorpe's face hardens, insisting he never met her. Though he joined the household shortly after her departure, Poirot shifts to the vial, suggesting it could be linked to Sir Reginald's death. Thorpe laughs, calling it absurd, but his eyes dart to his medical bag, left open on a bench. Poirot notices a small syringe inside, unmarked, another piece of the puzzle. Uncle Victor is in the billiard room, nursing a brandy despite the early hour. Poirot holds up the singed cufflink from the guest wing, watching Victor's face redden. Lost it weeks ago, he mutters, but Poirot counters with the cigar smoke near Amelia's room. Victor admits to wandering the halls, unable to sleep, but denies entering her room. When Poirot mentions Ellen Marwood, Victor's glass shakes, and he mumbles about her being trouble, but clams up when asked for details. His debts, Poirot suspects, make him a prime target for blackmail. Could he be the note-iter or a victim? Mr. Grant, caught in the study typing yet another letter, flinches when Poirot enters with the locket. He claims no knowledge of Ellen Marwood, but his fingers fumble with his spectacles when Poirot mentions the typed address found in his briefcase. Grant insists it's for a client, unrelated to the manor. But Poirot's question about the safe's contents, specifically the payments, makes him sweat. Just estate business, Grant stammers. But Poirot notices a locked diary on the desk, its leather cover embossed with the same initials as the locket. A coincidence, or a key to the past? Poirot ventures to the greenhouse, where Tom, the groundskeeper, is potting plants, his hands caked with soil. The detective asks about Ellen Marwood, and Tom's scowl deepens. She was kind to me, he says gruffly, but the family ruined her. He hints at a scandal involving Sir Reginald, but refuses to say more, his loyalty to Ellen clashing with his resentment of the Carmichaels. When Poirot mentions the syringe in Thorpe's bag, Tom's eyes narrow, suggesting he's seen Thorpe. Near the shed, handling bottles, sabotage or setup. Tom's muddy boots, still matching the guest wing prints, keep him in the web at luncheon. Poirot tests the group again, casually mentioning a fictional telegram from Ellen Marwood, claiming she's alive and knows the manor's secrets. The reaction is electric. Amelia drops her fork. Thorpe's hand grips her shoulder. Victor chokes on his soup. Grant spills his water, and Lady Evelyn excuses herself abruptly. Jenkins, clearing plates, lingers too long, overhearing. Poirot's ruse confirms Ellen's significance, but who fears her return most? In the afternoon, Poirot and Hastings searched Amelia's room, finding a hidden diary beneath her pillow. Its pages reveal her fears, Thorpe's secrecy, Victor's drunken hints at family shame, Grant's late-night meetings. One entry mentions seeing Thorpe with a vial, late at night in the study. Poirot's heart quickens. Could Thorpe be planning another accident? They also find a torn photograph, half of Ellen Marwood's face visible, hidden in a drawer. A clue Amelia concealed. The household gathers for tea, the tension palpable. Poirot watches Thorpe whisper to Grant, "Victor, avoid Lady." Evelyn's gaze and Amelia clutch her shawl, eyes red. Suddenly a loud thud from the attic. Rushing upstairs, they find a trunk overturned. Spilling old letters in a faded dress, monogrammed EM, a typed note lies atop. The web closes. Poirot examines the scene. No dust disturbed, suggesting a recent planting. Who staged this, and why now? Retiring to his room, Poirot maps the web. Ellen Marwood's shadow looms large, tying betrayal to the present. The locket, the vial, the notes all point to a secret someone will kill to keep. The dance of deception is reaching its crescendo, and Poirot is ready to call the tune. The truth is within reach, but danger lurks closer. What final revelation awaits? The stage is set for the next act. Chapter 9. The unraveling thread. The morning at Carmichael Manor is heavy with anticipation. The air thick as if the house itself holds its breath. The overturned trunk in the attic, spilling letters and address marked with Ellen Marwood's initials, has cast a shadow over the household, each guest moving with the wariness of a deer sensing a predator. Hercule Poirot, his eyes bright with the thrill of the chase, sits in the dining room, his breakfast untouched as he reviews his notebook, its pages dense with connections. Ellen Marwood's scandal, the vial, the locket, the typed notes, the hidden payments. The web of deception is taut, and Poirot knows that one tug on the right thread will unravel it all. Today, he will orchestrate a confrontation. Forcing the guilty to betray themselves, Poirot begins by gathering the household in the grand salon, the chandeliers glinting like watchful eyes. He stands at the center, his voice calm but commanding. Mes amis, the time for secrets is over. The truth about Ellen Marwood and her connection to this house will come to light. He holds up the locket and the faded dress, watching the room erupt in subtle tells. Lady Evelyn's lips tighten. Amelia's hands clutch her skirt. Dr. Thorpe's jaw clenches. Uncle Victor's glass shakes. Mr. Grant's spectacles fog, and Jenkins pauses mid-step, tray in hand. Poirot announces he's pieced together Ellen's story: a governess, loved by Sir Reginald, dismissed to protect the family's honor, perhaps wronged in ways yet unclear. He's bluffing slightly, but the reactions confirm her centrality. First, Poirot pulls Lady Evelyn aside to the morning room, where sunlight streams through stained glass, casting colored patterns on her strained face. He shows her the letters. From the attic, their romantic tone undeniable. Madame, did you know of your husband's affection for Ellen? Lady Evelyn's composure cracks, tears welling as she admits she suspected an affair but believed it ended before their marriage. She reveals Ellen left pregnant, a secret Sir Reginald swore to keep, funded by payments through Grant to ensure her silence. Poirot presses, could someone be using this to threaten her now? She shakes her head, but her fear suggests otherwise. Poirot notes her anguished guilt, or fear of exposure. Next, he confronts Amelia in the library, where she's curled up with a book, her eyes red from crying. Poirot gently shows her the diary entry about Thorpe and the vial. Mademoiselle, do you fear your fiancé? Amelia's voice trembles as she admits Thorpe's been distant, hinting at debts he must settle before their wedding. She found the torn photograph in his belongings, not her drawer, and kept it secret, fearing it implicated him in her father's death. Poirot's heart quickens. Amelia's loyalty is fraying, but is she shielding Thorpe or herself? He asks about Ellen, and Amelia recalls a childhood memory, a kind governess who vanished, leaving her a locket she later lost. The same locket? Dr. Thorpe is in the study, writing a letter when Poirot enters, holding the syringe from his bag. Doctor, this syringe, the vial tools of your trade, are weapons? Thorpe's charm falters, his voice sharp as he insists they're for medical emergencies, nothing more. Poirot mentions the watch chain's initials, linking it to Ellen Marwood. Thorpe claims it was Sir Reginald's, passed down as a memento, but his fingers fidget, betraying unease. When Poirot suggests Ellen's child might be alive, Thorpe's eyes narrow, and he snaps. That's ancient history. Poirot's gray cells hump. Thorpe's defensiveness points to deeper involvement. Uncle Victor, found in the garden smoking, is less guarded when Poirot shows him the attic letters. He admits knowing Ellen, calling her a sweet girl ruined by Reginald's promises. Victor hints that Ellen's departure wasn't voluntary, she was paid off and threatened to stay away. When Poirot mentions the typed notes, Victor laughs, nervously claiming he's hopeless with machines, but Poirot recalls the typewriter's ink on his cuffs. Victor's alibi for the attic incidents, leaping off a hangover, lacks corroboration. And his mention of debts to unsavory types suggests he's vulnerable to coercion. Mr. Grant, cornered in the parlor, is sweating when Poirot presents the typed address from his briefcase, matching the note's font. Grant insists it's for a client in London, unrelated, but falters when Poirot mentions the diary with EM initials. He admits handling payments to Ellen years ago, at Sir Reginald's behest, but claims they stopped after his death. Poirot's question about the safe's vial elicits a stammered denial, but Grant's locked diary, still on the desk, beckons like a locked door. Poirot suspects it holds the final piece. Tom, the groundskeeper, is in the tool shed, sharpening shears with a rhythmic scrape. Poirot asks about Ellen directly, and Tom's face softens, revealing she was his sister's friend, treated poorly by the Carmichaels. He admits to finding the locket years ago, planting it in the guest wing to stir trouble, hoping to expose the family's hypocrisy. When Poirot mentions the fire and mirror, Tom denies involvement, but his detailed knowledge of the manor's wiring and secret passages raises red flags. Could he be an avenger for Ellen's wrongs? At luncheon, Poirot stages his boldest move, announcing he's contacted a detective friend to trace Ellen Marwood's whereabouts. It's a lie, but the effect is immediate. Thorpe excuses himself. Claiming a headache, Amelia bursts into tears. Victor spills his wine. Grant drops his napkin. And Lady Evelyn stares into space. Jenkins, clearing plates, lingers too long again. Poirot follows Thorpe to the study. Catching him burning a letter, snatching it from the flames, Poirot sees a partial address matching Grant's. A conspiracy? As evening falls, the household gathers for a tense dinner, the wedding now days away. Poirot watches alliances shift. Thorpe and Grant avoid each other. Amelia clings to Lady Evelyn. Victor drinks heavily. Suddenly, a scream from the kitchen. Jenkins, clutching his chest, collapses. A typed note in his hand. The thread snaps. Poirot smells chloroform again, but Jenkins revives, shaken. The note's ink is fresh, the typewriter's hum still. Echoing in Poirot's mind, retiring to his room, Poirot sketches the final threads. Ellen's child, the payments, the locket. The notes all pointing to a betrayal that threatens the present. The guilty are cornered, their moves desperate. The unraveling is near, but who will break first? The truth is at hand, and the final confrontation looms. Stay tuned for the climax. Chapter 10. The illusion shattered. The final morning at Carmichael Manor dawns with a deceptive calm. The sky a clear blue that belies the storm of revelations about to break. The household is a powder keg, each guest moving with the stiffness of those who know the end is near. Hercule Poirot, his suit impeccable and his mustache perfectly waxed, stands in the grand salon. The weight of his notebook in his pocket like a loaded revolver, clues the locket, the vial, the photograph. The typed notes, the hidden payments. Ellen Marwood's shadow have woven a web so tight it can no longer hold. Today, Poirot will shatter the illusion of innocence, exposing the guilty in a final, dramatic unmasking. The wedding is tomorrow, but the truth will not wait. Poirot gathers everyone in the salon. The room's opulence, a stark contrast to the grim faces around him. Lady Evelyn sits rigid, her hands clasped. Amelia clings to Dr. Thorpe, her eyes red. Thorpe's charm is frayed. Uncle Victor nurses a brandy. Mr. Grant grips his briefcase. Jenkins hovers, pale from his chloroform scare. And Tom, summoned from the grounds, stands sullenly by the door. Captain Hastings, at Poirot's side, holds a small box of evidence. The locket, the vial, the singed letter, the diary. Poirot's voice is steady, commanding. Mise Amos, the game is over. The illusion of innocence has cloaked a crime, but Poirot sees through it. Let us unravel the truth. He begins with Ellen Marwood, holding up the locket and photograph. This woman, loved by Sir Reginald, bore his child a secret buried to protect the Carmichael name. The payments ensured her silence, but someone has used this past to sow chaos. Lady Evelyn gasps, admitting she paid Ellen to leave, fearing scandal. Poirot nods, turning to Grant. Monsieur, your records show payments continuing after Sir Reginald's death. Why? Grant stammers, revealing he funneled money to Ellen's sister, believing her dead, but recently learned she's alive, living. In London, the typed address in his briefcase was hers, a lead he hid, fearing exposure. Poirot pivots to the notes, holding up the latest. The thread snaps. He reveals the typewriter's ribbon, smudged with fresh ink, and points to Victor's stained cuffs. Monsieur Victor, you claimed ignorance of typing, yet the evidence betrays you. Victor sputters, admitting he typed the notes, blackmailed by an unknown figure who knew his debts, and threatened to expose his role in Ellen's banishment. I didn't hurt anyone, he pleads, just stirred trouble to pay them off. Poirot's eyes narrow. Victor's a pawn, not the mastermind. Turning to Thorpe, Poirot holds up the syringe and vial. Doctor, your watch chain engraved with Sir Reginald's initials, and your access to sedatives point to a darker role. Thorpe's composure cracks as Poirot reveals the burned letter, addressed to Ellen's sister, hinting at a plan to settle old scores. Thorpe confesses. He's Ellen's son, born in secret, raised in obscurity. Sir Reginald promised support, but died before fulfilling it, leaving Thorpe bitter. He infiltrated the family as Amelia's suitor, seeking revenge by poisoning Sir Reginald with a slow-acting toxin disguised as a heart attack. The vial, his leftover poison, hidden in the safe. The notes? He coerced Victor to write them, amplifying fear to destabilize the wedding and claim Amelia's trust fund. Amelia sobs, betrayed, but Poirot turns to her. Mademoiselle, your diary revealed Thorpe's secrets, yet you hid the photograph. Why? Tearfully, she admits suspecting Thorpe's motives, but loving him too much to act. Her feints were partly fear, partly performance to deflect suspicion. Poirot softens. She's a victim, not a villain. Tom steps forward, unprompted, admitting he planted the locket to expose the family's cruelty to Ellen, his sister's friend. He sabotaged the chandelier and mirror, hoping to scare them into confessing, but denies the fire or chloroform. Jenkins, trembling, reveals he overheard Thorpe's plans, but stayed silent, fearing dismissal. Lady Evelyn, broken, admits she suspected Thorpe, but protected Amelia, hoping love would redeem him. Poirot pieces it together. Thorpe, driven by revenge, killed Sir Reginald and orchestrated the threats, using Victor's desperation and the family's guilt. The fire and chloroform were his attempts to silence Jenkins, who knew too much. The locket and photograph, stirred up by Tom, unraveled his plan. Poirot declares, the illusion of innocence is shattered. Monsieur Thorpe, you are the spider. In this web, Thorpe lunges for the door, but Hastings blocks him, and Jenkins calls the police. Whereas they wait, Poirot comforts Amelia, urging her to find strength. Lady Evelyn vows to make amends with Ellen if she's found. Victor, shamefaced, promises to reform. Grant hands over his diary, revealing Ellen's current address. Tom nods, satisfied justice is near as the police arrive. Poirot steps onto the terrace, the manor's gardens serene in the evening light. The case is solved, the guilty unmasked, but the scars of betrayal linger. He turns to Hastings. Mon ami, innocence is fragile, but truth endures. The wedding is cancelled, but the family begins to heal. And there you have it, the mystery, unraveled. If you enjoyed this tale of deception and detection, hit that like button, subscribe, and comment below. What did you think of Poirot's final reveal? Stay tuned for more mysteries, and we'll see you in the next adventure.